Hey guys, my name's Siri Lily.
I'm Marshall.
And I'm Caitlin.
And we're the hosts of Unveiled Opinions.
Three newlywed girlies with a podcast on any and everything wedding related.
Happy Monday, girls.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. How's it going?
It's going. It's
Good.
going great.
Nothing special to report.
No, it's been a very Monday.
Do you guys miss me?
We did miss you.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad you're back, Kate.
Oh, yeah.
You're a mess. How was Augusta?
Augusta was good. One of his cousins' wives, it was her birthday. So we went and they had a low country boil and we hung out with everybody and it was a ton of fun. One of Matthew's other cousins actually just got engaged.
Fine.
I know.
Wedding
I talked to him a
planning.
lot. His wife-to-be was out looking at wedding venues. And I
Exciting.
didn't get much details, but she wasn't really loving any of the ones she saw. So it was a not successful day.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I know, but he's like, please tell her we should go somewhere tropical and do a destination. He's like, I don't want to do this. And all the boys were just around talking about, what they want to do. And they're like, these weddings seem so stressful for you girls.
Oh my gosh.
So why does he care? I feel like he's just along for the ride, essentially.
He was like, she's already stressed.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, that happens.
Get ready for the rest of your life.
The beginning is the most stressful.
It is. Once you book a venue or a planner or something, you get that one thing taken care of, it just starts rolling. I
The
feel like.
beginning
Yeah.
is so jarring too because it's all so new and the
you have no idea.
prices and you're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I thought I had a budget. Then you go to a venue, they're like, yeah, that's just the baseline.
Yeah, and it's
that's
your whole
just
budget.
to show up.
Yeah. You still need to get your food minimum and alcohol.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, sick. Perfect. How
It's
about
I might look somewhere else now, but thank you.
Yeah, it's like, you're now not in my budget. Thanks.
Good to know. I always dreamed of getting married here, but maybe not.
Yeah, dreams die in early wedding planning, that's for sure.
Well, and you have to get creative.
Yeah.
I feel like, dreams do die. But if you don't have to let them, you can find a way.
Find a new dream.
Yeah.
Find a new dream. Yeah,
Find
your
a
old
new
dream
dream.
sucked.
It's typically not stressful for the grooms, but exceptionally not stressful asking their groomsmen.
They feel no stress.
Yeah. They have negative stress on the topic of figuring out who the heck are going to be groomsmen for them.
Who the heck?
Or
Who
how
the
to
heck?
ask.
Yeah, or how to even ask.
No, they don't care.
No, they don't care at all. But that is what we are going to talk about today. And obviously, we know bridesmaids' proposals are all over Pinterest and Instagram and TikTok.
And there are so many examples for you to use.
Yeah.
And you can go listen to our last episode if you want to hear about what we think.
What we did, some things you can do.
And then you can follow the podcast, rate, review, subscribe on YouTube, leave a comment.
Exactly. So you can get so much inspiration online for bridesmaids and from this podcast. But when it comes to guys, there's not as much out there.
Literally nothing.
Literally nothing. Yeah. They haven't taken the time to write it down. And so today,
I guess there's not a male equivalent of this podcast.
yeah, I guess not.
You're kidding.
So we're going to talk about the do's, the don'ts, and then some of the unnecessary over the top moments that we have seen, the asking and gifting process for our grooms.
Or also the lack of, Matthew didn't always communicate with his groomsmen. And then we're getting RSVPs and they're not coming. And he's like, oh my God, I thought that was going to be one of my groomsmen. And I'm like, have you spoken to him?
Have you actually asked him?
Everyone's Matthew's best friend.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So we're, making sure that you actually do ask.
Yeah, you don't want to get your fiance upset in the middle of wedding planning. He's crushed. He's he's going to be my best man. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, his potential groomsmen can't even come to the wedding.
Actually, I'll be out of town that weekend.
Yeah, I'm tied up.
I think he was like, my girlfriend has a wedding I've got to go to.
Oof.
Oof.
He wasn't like first high up on the list though. Don't worry. It wasn't
Yeah.
a big deal.
Apparently.
Goodness. Well, do you think that groomsmen actually care about being asked, or is it like something that we're just starting to see more of because it's like starting to match what the bridesmaids are doing?
Oh, you mean care about being in the party or like care about getting a gift?
The gift and like,
Gift.
Oh, I don't think they really care.
I asked Gil, he said he didn't care. And he's never received a gift for like a proposal.
Boys just don't care about gifts, I feel like,
Mm-mm.
that much because like they never get good gifts. Like their moms were giving them
Yeah.
socks for Christmas. Like,
To this day.
they get like underwear. Like,
Yeah. And they don't have like the draw to like look on Instagram and TikTok and stuff like we do for like,
what? Matthew looks on Instagram all the time.
is he looking at groomsmen proposals? Is he looking at like weddings?
No.
I feel like it's always in our feed, no matter what. Like if
Yeah.
we even, if we're not planning a wedding, it's like someone is getting married and posting everything. So guys, don't do that.
So, as you said, Mary Lily, like Matthew, he maybe thought he asked. And like, I know that you had asked your bridesmaids, and you typically, most people, I feel like, kind of like line up, okay, how many are we going to have on each side and everything. But when it comes down to like actually extending the ask, do you think that grooms should wait until after the bridesmaids are asked, or does it not matter?
I don't think it really matters. I think map symmetry is like a little outdated. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you have one or two off, or if you want to have a million people and your husband wants to have three, like let him.
Whatever.
Yeah, I think it's do whatever you want.
Yeah, we talked about it and like our numbers did just happen to line up at the beginning, but it wasn't like a huge deal and they ended up not lining up by
Yeah.
the day of the wedding. But Gil didn't ask his either. He assumed they knew.
Yeah,
And so
that's what
that made it
Matthew
really
did.
awkward for later.
When you say like assumed, was it like a text message, or was it just like,
No, Matthew's like, I was in their wedding.
that is funny?
It's like, well, I mean, I talked about it with them. Like I was like, you talked about the wedding, like in general. You didn't like talk about like their specific role.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
his childhood friends. He just like assumed that like they would
Mhm.
obviously be
They
in his
would
wedding.
just be in it.
That's literally what Gil did. So, and then he had to go back and ask them over text.
Okay, so he did go back and was like,
Wait, but back to your original question, Caitlin, do you think boys care about being asked? Like, do you think boys care about being groomsmen? TBH, like, do you think
No.
that like boys get
Mm-mm.
offended if they're not asked to be groomsmen?
I think it depends on the wedding. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like, is it their brother? Like, they might be offended, or like their best friend, like they were best man and their wedding. I don't know. I think
I
they
feel
might.
like years ago it used to be like more of an honor. Is that like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
was
just,
like, oh my God, I have to do it again.
yeah, like you think of like, I think of the movie Wedding Crashers and how it was like, oh yeah, like we're in the wedding party. It's like, okay, who are the other single people in the wedding party? And now it's like, there's just not that like sense of like,
Well, there was no social media back then. So like
Yeah.
it was
yeah,
like such a fun time of wedding. I feel like you just like got all these people together
yeah,
that you like kind of knew, but didn't really. Cause like back in the day, you're just like going to a
knew-
bar with your like two friends, hoping like somebody shows up. I don't
And
know.
I also think that back then everyone kind of got married around the same age. So it
Yeah.
probably was not as spread out as it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like everyone at my wedding party, I think like no one was single in either Matthew.
Yeah.
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 And it
That's-
is a different dynamic than when it is like single people and who's hooking up with who. And
Right.
like, I mean, that is fun.
Yeah.
We didn't have like bridesmaid and groomsmen houses because like most people are married and they're coming out of town. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be like,
Yeah.
your husband can stay alone.
Literally, it was like we had so many people, especially on Gil's side, like his groomsmen that had babies and like, like their wives, they like brought their babies and then the in-laws came to take care of the babies
Right.
like during the
Yeah.
wedding and stuff. So it's just a different dynamic when you like get married a little later, I guess.
Yeah. It is different. And I think that is like, I feel like it used to be a lot more like fun.
Well, I think it also used to be simpler.
It did.
Yeah, it was like buy a dress.
And like bachelor parties and bachelorette parties were like in town, like usually the same night, or, you know, like they
Yeah.
were just going to like a bar. It wasn't like such a big
Like we're going to
expense
Mexico.
ordeal. Yeah.
Right.
And
Which
take out a
I
loan.
We're
do
taking a
feel-
week off of work,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
just for the bachelorette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel like the guys though, like for the bachelor parties, they really go all out and into
Yeah,
that.
they
And like
love those.
they
Yeah.
love them. Gil, I feel like had like 20 people at his
That's what Matthew's bachelor party. People weren't even invited to our wedding.
Exactly. Like
Oh my God.
it was like so many people. And they're like, you know, but I definitely think it's a whole different ball game now.
It is.
All of
And
it.
so I feel like the guys don't care as much about being in it.
Mm-mm.
And I don't think it matters as much of like asking in the order of asking, because none of the men put it on. They have nothing to put on social media.
They don't
They're
take
not
a screenshot of that
Yeah.
text and
And
put it
be
on.
like,
Yeah,
Can't wait to
and
stand by
be
your
honest, it's
side.
not like they're like putting it on their calendar either. They're like
Yeah.
completely forgetting about it until like 2 months before. And like, shit, man, that's your wedding. Oh
I
God,
gotta get that tux,
I'm
man.
gonna cancel out of that
Yeah.
golf tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually asked Gil before this. I was like, "Do you care like how they ask?" And he's like, "No, like literally just text me. Don't even call me.
Don't even
And-
call me.
Don't call
not
me."
call me under
Yeah.
any circumstances.
And I was like, "Do you like? Would you ever want a gift?" And he was like, "No." Like, I mean, we typically do like the wedding, the day of the wedding, they get gifts
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But he's like,
Yeah.
"You don't have to buy me anything."
Well, for boys, it's like good to get them little keepsakes and stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
it is kind of easy to get boys little tchotchkes because
Yeah,
like
get them some
you can-
cigars, like bourbon. Like
they're
it's
Yeah.
so
so,
easy.
like yeah, every
A
men's
lighter.
store has so many tchotchkes.
They
Go
really
to
do.
Madden's in Rock Hill.
Yeah. Go to my brother's store. He'll
Yeah.
hook you up.
Shameless plug.
So we're going to talk about groomsmen gifts too, but like if somebody was wanting to do, like if they were like, oh, I want to do something,
Mhm.
Right.
what are some just like maybe like low effort
I mean, you could
ideas?
invite everybody to like the Leatherman's driving range one
Yeah,
afternoon
right.
and like have a cooler of beers in the parking lot and be like, hey, I want you guys to be my
Right.
groomsmen.
Yeah.
I'll go to
Invite them to a
so-and-so.
bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually did see one where the groom like invited all of his friends to like a round of golf and stuff. And on the golf balls, it had like
Oh, that's cute.
something. I don't even know what it is.
Something. Will you be my groomsman?
Can't say I do without you.
I know, but
Oh my
boys are so
God,
much
I
better
can't
at
tie the
planning
knot.
group stuff, you guys.
They are.
They're not like, oh my God, I have 20 things on my schedule. They're like, golf Saturday, it's going to be
It's
7.
going to be 70
Yeah,
degrees.
I'll be there.
Yes.
No, don't worry about whatever my wife thinks that.
I'm going to this.
Yeah. I feel like the group activity or even
Group.
like one-on-one.
And I saw
Right.
one on Pinterest where it was like cigars and it was like the
Yeah.
wrap said like
That's so
something.
cute.
I don't know. So like, I mean, if that's like your vibe, you could
Your
do
vibe.
something like if you really wanted to like give the men something.
Like we said on the episode last week, it's like when you ask them, like, do try and give them context into like
Mm-hmm.
what their roles and responsibilities will be.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
like, I know we didn't do that. Mark and I at least said we didn't, but like
Hindsight.
just to give people like, clear expectations. That's like the best way for your expectations to be met.
Yeah. I feel like with
Yeah.
guys, it's easier. All they really have to do is be like, hey, this is the wedding date.
Yeah.
We are going on a bachelor party. Don't know when it is. And then the Gil's friends wanted to know, they're like, do I need a tux? That's like
Yeah.
what they wanted to know.
Matthew like didn't even ask me. He was like, yes, you all need to wear a black tux. I had no idea he told them that. And then someone came up to me like, Marilee, I don't have a black tux. I was like, okay. And they're like, Matthew said we needed them. I'm like,
He
who
made
said-
that up.
Why are you listening to Matthew?
Oh, actually, Will did tell me like the day of the wedding. He was like, I didn't know I was supposed to wear a tux to this.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you
Okay.
weren't.
Just Matthew spreading rumors.
Whatever he could get his hands on to do, he was like, this is mine.
You're doing this.
Well, Kyle didn't do any, like he didn't give anybody anything. Like I feel like the
Yeah.
most like formal thing that he did was like we were on a family trip and he had a beer with my brother and like had a conversation with him. But that wouldn't have been an assumed person for sure.
Right. What about some don'ts then?
don't
in regards
assume
to
that someone's
asking.
in your
Yeah, I
wedding and
get
don't
that.
reach out. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like don't assume.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And because on the flip side, then you may have people that assume they are in the wedding, and we know how that goes.
I think it's
Mhm.
so wild though, like to even think like a man and be like, I'm just gonna assume these people know that
Yeah,
they're
they
in
can.
my wedding.
Because we maybe spoke about it blackout 5 years ago before I was
Right.
dating who I'm
Before this girl was even in the
marrying.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say don't assume. And also, like, don't do something that, like, doesn't feel genuine, I guess.
Or
Like,
like
don't do so,
authentic. Yeah.
yeah, don't do something for like the show of it.
Yeah. Like, don't do something so super over the top if you're like really shy.
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I mean? Don't do something
Yeah.
that's like out of your like comfort zone. I know everyone's like, get out of your comfort zone. For your wedding, like it's supposed to like kind of be comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
like,
feel like that's the one time don't do that.
Yeah.
and I also feel like don't like go spend a bunch of money because this part really isn't that big of a deal.
No, the proposal is the sign up list. Like,
Yeah, like as we've learned, men don't care. So like you don't need to do that. Also, maybe like don't ask them like drunk or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I just feel like you could like what if you ask them drunk and then it's like you tell them all the wrong stuff or you ask someone who you weren't really meaning to ask?
Right. No, it's best to try and keep that stuff like,
Maybe be a little sober.
well, also, what if they forget some of it? You forget some of it.
Exactly.
They're like, I'm not sure if they're like being serious. I don't want to bring it up to them. Like, how
Exactly.
awkward.
It could just be a weird situation.
Yeah.
That's happened to somebody I know. They like asked somebody to be in their wedding or like officiate their wedding, like blackout. And then it was like,
And it's awkward to bring up. Yeah.
it was awkward. Yeah. It's like, hey, like,
Did you really want me to do that?
yeah. I try to be a little sober.
Yeah. After
Get
just like
drunk
he'll go
afterwards.
he'll
Yeah, like
exactly.
you can toast with something, but like just not at 3 a.m.
Yeah, like your neighborhood bar.
Groomsmen gifts, because this is, I feel like, where if you want to spend some money,
Mm-hmm.
would be a better place to do so.
Yes.
What did each of your husbands do as it relates to groomsmen gifts?
Matthew, I found these silver ashtrays that I wanted. So I gave them
That
to
you
them.
wanted.
And like silver, we were doing all like silver like vases or whatever
Mhm.
for like all of our flowers. So I don't know, it just
Good
kind of
tied in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it was just like cute to go in a house.
You were thinking of their wives.
Yes. That is very sweet of you to
And
do.
I'm like just like, what do they want? Like Matthew does get a bunch of like a nice leather koozie, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? In those places, or
Mm-hmm.
he's gotten it's like flasks with initials punched in them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Matthew loves to drink. I don't know if he's ever remembered to bring a flask anywhere.
Never.
I know. I feel like flasks are like really cute at the moment, but like I've also received them and I have never taken a flask anywhere in my
Also, like,
life.
how do you
Yeah.
clean those? Like,
Yeah.
I know.
Maybe
I just
that's
feel
why
like they
people
would
keep
just like
giving them because it's like a one-time use
and I feel
thing.
like that's why they were popular back in the day before we like knew about germs and people were
Right.
just putting like straight up like ear rubbing
Yeah.
alcohol in them.
yeah, like little like moonshine in a
Yeah.
flask.
They were like, here, drink this rubbing alcohol. It's clean, this little bottle, I swear.
It's clean.
It's clean. Just sniff it. Gil actually did liquor, I know, for just the ones who drank.
Yeah.
I think that's always a good one for the
Yeah,
ones
I
who
mean,
drink.
it's easy. He didn't do any personalized stuff. I know he did beef jerky. He's a really big like beef jerky eater.
That's cute.
So he did that. He did golf balls because like everyone plays golf in his party. And then for his brother, he did hot sauce instead of alcohol because he also really likes, they're all big into hot sauce, but he doesn't drink. And then I think he did like socks and like Tums and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
His
Oh,
dad was
wow.
his best man. So he got him a watch. So his was like a
Nice.
little nicer, but I mean, it's not like he got him like other stuff. And like, I don't know. I think he was also seeing that like I was like buying stuff for my bridal party. And it's like, oh, like, am I supposed to be doing this? I'm like, you don't have to, but like, it would be nice for you to get them something. So,
Right. They do a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
What about Kyle? He gave cups out.
He really wanted this engraved small like rocks Yeti glass.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like a
so,
tumbler.
yeah, like one of the short ones. And
Yeah.
so that was, he was like, I want this for myself. And so he got that as something.
Mhm.
He did liquor, and then he did brackish pocket squares.
Well, I think like as long as it's something the boy wants for themselves. I mean, it's just kind of like girls. Like if you want this
Yeah,
for yourself, your friend like probably does too.
exactly.
So, and it worked because like they got ready at a house down the street, and like who knows what was in that house.
Right.
And he just like gave them to the guys there. So many people traveled. And so it was
Mhm.
like, okay, this is yours
Yeah.
so that you can drink this liquor while we're
That's
in
smart,
this
yeah.
random place.
Drink it.
Take your drinks in here.
Yeah. So it was funny, but he took it and like he was like really did his own thing.
And with liquor, if you like want to be super extra, not that, but Caitlin got a bottle of liquor with like something painted on it.
Oh, yeah.
And like you could always do that if you're doing groomsmen like liquor bottles.
Or
That's
you can
always
get stuff
cool.
etched on it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or you could
Mhm.
do like how people do champagne bottles with hodgepodge, Mod Podge.
Mod
Mod
Podge, yeah. There's options.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that kind of goes to like, should the gifts for the groomsmen be all the same, or like should you personalize it for each of them? What are your thoughts on that?
I just said either way.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
like it personalized, but like if it's out of budget or like not something that's personalized, like
Yeah.
okay.
It's not that big. Like, it's like, it is cool if like, oh, there is like a liquor bottle and
Mhm.
there's something cool that you have for each guy
Yeah.
that would make sense to have painted on it or something unique like that. But if not, don't make it up because that's awkward.
That's weird. Yeah. No, I think that like I would typically say just do all the same. I mean, unless it's like people don't drink or like, something
Yeah.
like that. Like, let's not be
It
insensitive.
would like exclude
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Do you think that, and Marshall, you kind of said this, like Gil was like, oh, I feel like you're doing stuff, like I
Mhm.
should be doing it. Do you think that the grooms do this because they like want to, or do you feel like they do it because they feel obligated to?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. But
Yeah.
ours was an out of town wedding, so he did want to do something for them. And part of the gift, I forgot about this, part of the gift for the groomsmen were they didn't have to pay for any of their rentals for their tux because my brother just like that
Oh,
was
yeah.
like their like wedding gift to, them to be like, okay, like no charge for your rental. So I think like when you're doing out of town too, it's like just a good way to be like, thank you for doing everything for me.
Yeah,
Like,
traveling, getting the
Yeah.
hotel, all of the things.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Not Matthew. Matthew like I don't think he cared or felt obligated. I think he felt obligated a little bit because he's been in weddings and like
Yeah.
gotten stuff. But I
Mhm.
really think that's the only like I don't think he cared. And I think that's like fine. I don't
Yeah.
think if any of those guys didn't get a gift, they would be like
You didn't
miffed
get
or
me
be like, I
anything.
shouldn't have
Yeah.
showed up to this wedding. Like I didn't even get a groomsman gift.
I think that's a good point though. Like they've been in weddings before where they've gotten stuff. So like they know that like
Yeah.
you can
Right.
do this if you want to.
Yeah, no, I mean, they've all been in weddings, and I feel like some of the gifts they've gotten at weddings, they are like kind of like meh. So it's like,
Right. It's like, do I really want another one of these?
yeah.
Personalized koozies.
The one thing that I have heard that is kind of, it's like a little bit, it's nothing unique or unexpected of a gift, but it's very
Mhm.
practical. Socks, because the amount of guys that forget their dress socks.
Yeah, gilded
Um,
socks. And some of them wore them because
Yeah.
even though their rentals had socks, they didn't know where they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
they were like fresh socks. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know how that works.
They're rental socks.
They're rental
no,
socks.
I don't know. They didn't have socks, so I know that
Sorry,
they
gotta
did.
return these socks
Gotta-
later. They're rentals.
They're rentals. And I just feel like that's like a very typical guy thing of like, oh,
Yes.
forgetting. Like my brother called me once, and it was a wedding weekend, and it was in Charlotte, and so he was like,
Uh-huh.
"Hey, I forgot underwear. Can you go by
No,
my
I feel
house?"
like that's such a boy.
Can
That
get
stuff's so boy.
underwear.
It really is.
I was like, all right. He was like, but they gave us socks, so we're all set there. I
He's
was
like, so you
"Thank
don't need to bring
God."
them because
Thank
I did
God.
forget those too.
Yeah.
I know that Gil's been in weddings before where he's gotten cufflinks, and those are like
Yeah.
the cufflinks they wear the day
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, I think also if you do want your groomsmen to like wear something uniform, then like how
Give
you
it to
caught
them.
them the pocket square, and I mean Marshall dressed hers from head to toe, controlling much.
Yeah, I had
Even
a
down to the
vision. I
socks.
had a vision of no, actually, one of the
She was like,
pictures
if you don't
has
wear
like
your rented socks, you're kicked out.
no, there's a picture of one of the groomsmen in in socks that I was like, I did not approve those.
What was on the socks?
They were like yellow.
Oh,
I was like, what the
Offensive.
I don't know, like bees. I don't know what was on them.
bees.
Yeah, bees were a
Not the
theme of your
bees.
wedding, so that literally you're a
Yeah, but they
hypocrite.
weren't. It wasn't like yellow and black bumblebees, like stripes everywhere.
Oh my God. Cool. We talked about some unexpected groomsmen gifts or just general tips that you would recommend?
I think go with your gut. If your husband likes it, more than likely his friends like it. If he does not feel the need to get them a gift or that it's useless, that's like sometimes just men and they don't want to spend
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
So just like make sure they're polite when like asking them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. And I mean, if your husband like asks for your help with like what to get, that's one thing, but I don't think you should try to like control the gifts because
Mm-mm.
they like know
You have
their
enough
friends.
on your plate too.
And they know their friends better than you do. Like,
Yeah.
And you really do
Yeah.
have a lot on your plate. Like
yeah, that's
literally
the
be
last
like,
thing you need.
Yeah.
if like be like groomsmen gifts are a thing. Like if you want to look into it, like if not, like go your own way.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like, I mean, there is the bachelor trip, like pick up a
Yeah.
round of beer, like they can do other
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's
It's-
not like a
It doesn't have
physical
to be, like,
exchange of goods.
exactly.
Right. And I feel
Exactly.
like you talk with your husband though the most about this kind of stuff at the beginning when you're like, who are going to be your groomsmen, who are going to be my bridesmaids. So I think like during that conversation, just kind of like get expectations with him set and like
Yeah.
understand what you guys are doing and
Yeah.
like tell him he probably needs to ask them.
Yeah.
I did do that.
Don't
It
assume.
didn't happen, but
Well,
Don't assume because you make an ass out of you and me.
Bless.
until next time.
Subscribe, like, rate, review.
Bye, guys.
Bye.